Greetings, guys. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Monette, and this is my channel, Evolve with Monette. Listen up here. I just wanted to share a quick thing with you, a download that I got. I was just finishing up readings for the afternoon, and I'm about to get outside and get some sun, go for a walk. Maybe I'll pop on out there. You guys know how I like to do. But for those of you that are new here, I'm a professional intuitive empath. My name is Monette, and this is my channel, Evolve with Monette. And let's evolve right now. Divine Feminines, are you with me? It's time to cash in your insurance policy for the deadbeat and for the accident that you got in. Let me explain. I have a dear friend who actually works for Allstate, and so I love the motto, "You're in good hands." I have a lot of friends that work in insurance, actually, from Aflac to building their own companies to Allstate to Geico, you name it. I don't know what's up with me and people in the insurance world, but I kind of love them. But I think it's the safety. And it's so funny because it comes in handy quite often for me. But "you're in good hands" is Allstate's motto and their kind of ethos. And I do believe that's Allstate. Now, what happened was you were not in good hands with your distorted masculine or your karmic evil twin, or you name it. Y'all know I will go on and on with the monikers. And you got into an accident, but spiritually, you built in a policy, a contingency policy that would keep you with your head above water and gliding freely and moving freely about your life. And so, what they're saying for me to tell you today or tonight, whenever you watch this, is that if you got a lemon, if you got a jalopy, if you got someone who pulled you in, manifested you to, knew exactly what was going on in the connection, and then gaslit you when they decided they wanted to taste and see that the world was good or shitty, whatever. They found what they found. That wasn't anything that you did wrong, and you did not let anyone down. I got to assure you of that today. I had a lot of women today that I dealt with that, and I have clients for the rest of the day, all into the night. It's been busy, and I'm grateful. But what I will tell you is this: I have a lot of women that I dealt with that were like, "But wait, what about me?" Fortunately, I'm on the other side of that, so I get to say, "Oh no, there's hope on the at the end of this journey." And ironically enough, the person that was part of my insurance policy does actually work for Allstate, or is high up, I should say, in the Allstate conglomerate. It's hilarious to me how God works. You're in good hands. Actually, that is a thing that happened for me, but it happens for you too. What I mean by this is when that old boo or old person or old whatever tries you, old friend, I don't care what the dynamic is between you two, you get to say, "Now let's do this again." That's what an insurance policy is about. You've been paying into it. I don't even know the words. I actually wish that I had her on the line to say all the words to make this an even better metaphor. But you've been paying for this. You've been investing in it like we do with any insurance policy. I have a cancer policy through Aflac, a supplemental policy, right? Because of the cancer that runs in my family. Got it years and years ago when I started to get weirdly sick. And one of my friends who has her own company, but also it was an affiliate of Aflac, was like, "Mona, you need this." And I, have had insurance before, but I knew she wasn't wrong. And then when my sister, who is currently still going strong, God bless her, is battling stage 4 cancer, and my father died from cancer as well, I knew that it was something that I may need. And I hope I never have to cash it in, but I invest into that policy every month like clockwork. That gets drafted out of my account, one of my accounts, right? So, excuse me, guys, having a little lapse of lung stuff going on here. So what I will tell you is this: I invest, and I hope I never have to make that withdrawal, obviously, and call an agent and say, "This is my reality." But we keep insurance policies on our car, on ourselves, on our lives for a reason. Because if we ever need to call it in, we can. Well, you have a spiritual insurance policy in escrow for you. And what that means is you have the ability to have your angels and ancestors come through and replace the damage, to assess the damage. Was it a total loss? It's so funny to me that this is coming in and that I kind of know words now about this that I wouldn't have before because this is so not my life. But with being surrounded by a lot of people in the insurance world, I get it now. Was this a total loss? Are you going to get a big check from it? Are you going to get a full replacement, a rental in the interim? Yeah, all those things. And I got every single one of those things emotionally and spiritually. But the best thing about that, cashing in that policy when it was time, was I was not in the state of mind to do it. God sent in a great agent. You're in good hands. Won't he do it? He sent in an agent who literally was like, okay, this is a total loss. There is nothing that can be reassessed from it. No one guided me on how to do my exit when my person betrayed me, or when I dealt with that lies and gaslighting, and they had called me in to manifest me and did all the things. Everything you felt I've been through, guys, I promise you. And we had communicated about it, and we knew who we were and all of that juicy stuff. And then they were like, nah, they wanted to be for the streets. Well, to the streets they went. And that was a total loss for me of a great investment. I've been paying on that policy for 20 years. Like some of you will with your insurance policies, with your car insurance, etc., right? And I thought, this is not right. How did this happen to me? This is not fair. This is not the way it should be. But it happened to me because accidents happen. Isn't that Allstate with the guy that's like chaos that like pops up? Accidents happen, right? And so it was meant to happen, and it was meant to put me on a new path. That relationship was not meant to last. Even if we both had mutually agreed upon it at what time, people change their mind. And the person that was in my life, certainly, the jalopy, changed its mind. It decided, you know what? I really always came from a used car dealership, and I literally sold you up and ran up your credit. And also I like jacked you, and the interest rate's always been too high. And I've been getting over this whole time. And now you realize that like I set the odometer back, and really I was at like 150,000 miles when I told you I only had like 20,000 miles. Like, girl, I got tried. I got played, and I was the gullible empath back in the day. Specifically, I was like, boop 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 boop, look at this magical card just for me. And it was a whole ass jalopy. Chitty chitty bang bang would have been better. And it's so funny, that's what I got now, something that gets me out of any weather, that is all weather, that is all terrain, that can be on the water and in the galaxies and in the air and back on the road again. But I had to cash in that policy. And how you cash in your policy is you move away from the promise of the jalopy, okay? You look at that interest rate, you take it to your CPA if you can't account it yourself, and you say, you know what? Something doesn't seem right here. I think I'm getting taken. And you'll know that because of your internal fear, your downloads, your dreams, betrayal, gaslighting, abusive situations. There will be a million ways that you will know that you are at a total loss. I was at a total loss. I wasn't going to be gaslit about how I abandoned the jalopy on the side of the road. You know, when you see people kicking the car and walking away, that's the point I was at spiritually. I was like, this mother beep, 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 beep. I felt away about having taken care of that jalopy. I was shining. I was putting, what do they call that? Tire shine on the jalopy. I was doing white wall on the tires that were bald, even though I kept changing them. I was like, how come they keep ending up bald? It was such an investment in something that was such a piece, because it was never meant for me. Guess what I got afterwards, y'all? A real brand new shiny SUV. And I mean that actually. God will replace so many things in your life when you walk away from people that are not right and that do not value you. And he will also replace the person that didn't value you. Now, there has been this divestment from this whole twin flame thing, and I was like totally into it, okay? But what I will tell you is a higher level soulmate is where it's at. And I hope one day I don't come here and say, where it's at is an alien from the third galaxy on the Palladian left. I don't know. We evolve, right? And that's what this channel is about. I've built room for myself to stretch, okay? Go with me on the journey. But what I will tell you is, in the collective, higher level soulmate is cashing in your insurance policy. And it's not something you could just go out and get. It's something that is given to you, especially if your heart was true. Come on, pal and a confidant. Thank you for being a friend. Travel down the road and back again. I have an insurance policy right now whose heart is true. They are a pal and a confidant. I am in good hands, but so are you. If you decide that what was once for you was no longer for you, and you decide that you want something that is good for you and healthy for you, and you decide that you want someone who actually values you. But you have to be brave and call your adjuster and say, can you assess this? And your adjuster is your higher self, it's your angels, it's your ancestors. Guys, can you take a look at this? I have put so much money into it. I really don't want to just leave it by the side of the road, because what will happen is if you don't call in the resources in the cavalry, you will find yourself in detrimental situations that can be volatile or dangerous or cost you emotionally, financially, or judicially, meaning people that are low vibrational karmics, because that's what they switch into. When a divine counterpart decides to play you, try you, and lie to you, they get lots of messages because they're still connected to you. So their Ethernet, their emotional Ethernet is very good. When they move away from you and you remove that cloak of protection, as you should, they no longer hear messages and they lose their spiritual gifts. The person that I was with was very gifted in her way. She imbibed it with alcohol and drugs, and it made it even stronger. In fact, some of the best readings that she ever gave me was when she was drunk. And that's sad to say, but I don't know why. Maybe it's the only time she could let herself feel unencumbered to channel properly. When she was sober, she shut it all down through her ego and she filtered it through no's and no's and no's. That's fine. That was her journey. But what I will tell you is I am not allowing anybody next to me that doesn't have their own gifting, that I do not see potential in, and the ability to actually connect. And so she had that at a point. She really did. But when I disconnected the Ethernet and I called in my adjusters and I was like, this is crazy, because I was so connected. I was feeling all of the other depravity she was involved in, even though she never spoke a word of it to me. I knew for a fact, and I wasn't wrong. I bet $1 million on it. Okay. And so I said, I need help on the way. I had AAA as well, those angels, okay? I had AAA energetically and actually, and I was like, can someone come get me? I called in my life support. I called in my phone a friend. I was like, this is a hot mess. And in the end, I said, but I have to divest. They said, yeah, it's a total loss. If your car is totaled, you cannot recover it, meaning the drivability, meaning the money you would have to put in to make it workable again would be a complete loss and waste of investment for you. So my angel said, well, you have a few choices here to do. You can keep putting money into this jalopy for another 20 years and it might sputter awake again and take you for another 20 feet of a ride. Take you on a ride. And let me explain what I mean by that. Take you on a bullshit lie. Take you on dark, sleepless nights. Take you on gaslighting. Taking you on competitions and third parties. Taking you where you feel like you're not valued, malnourishing you emotionally, malnourishing you physically, malnourishing you energetically, not spending money on you financially, making fun of you for investing to them financially with gifts or kindnesses and acting like you're a simp. That was the ride that I was given. I don't know what kind of ride you were on, but that was the ride I was given. And they said, you want to keep putting money into this? Someone who has no fidelity in their spirit, y'all. I didn't care about her body. I cared about her spirit. And I wanted someone that was for me. They said, we have a brand new SUV with all the bells and whistles, with leather seats, something that is just for you, baby. If you can accept that this is a total loss, we'll send it in expeditiously. When I was car shopping, ironically, with the person that is my Allstate, the person I'm in good hands with, she came down, flew down, and drove down several times, no exaggeration, and arranged pre-visitations to dealerships, who rolled out red carpets with the best people meeting us at the door, and I believe champagne at one point, if I am not mistaking that. The red carpet was rolled out as I shopped for my car. Never had an experience like it before. She had called all the dealerships because cars are kind of her thing. She's actually got fantastic balanced masculine feminine energy, but she's a car person and she actually really gets it like deeply. Like it's one of my favorite things. I had a little moment happen recently and she was like, you might want to check that. It's not a big deal and whatever. And my husband told me like, oh, this is where the gas tank is at. And she was like, no, that's not the gas tank. This is the whatever, y'all. You know, I don't know words about cars, but she was right. And my husband was wrong. No offense, honey. But she was right. And that was very cool. I was like, I love that I have a friend that gets this way more than I would. But when it was time for me to shop for a car, my husband didn't come with me. She did. And here's what I will say about that is that sometimes you will get sent in a higher level soulmate and you may have other people in your life that fulfill you and are absolutely great, but there is something that they are sent to do that only they can do. And we went car shopping, left hubby at home because I didn't want to deal with the struggle and the drama. Hashtag Capricorn energy. Finances are not his thing, meaning he's good with them, but we don't mix them because I know what rules work for my marriage. And so my bestie came down and she helped me figure that out. And it was a red carpet rolled out. I want you to transfer that spiritually. You will have the red carpet rolled out for your next selection of higher level soulmate, partner, friend, bestie, lover, husband, wife, girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever you need filled in your life after the twin flame p-jacked it, kamikazed it, and shit on it. Okay? I'm thinking of Nicki Minaj. Sagittarian energy, put your number twos in the air if you did it on it. Shit it on them. Unfortunately, that's what your divine, whomever, distorted, whatever, liar, manipulator, whatever did to you. They shit it on you. Boo boo. They thought you were Boo Boo the Fool. Let's go back all the way to the 90s. Homie, don't play that. So, not today, Satan. What happens is your angels hear your war cry, they hear your battle cry, they hear your bat call, and they say, okay, divine feminine, are you done with the free fall of fuckery from a liar's face and mouth and energy? Now we can put you in the hands of someone who will take you up on the wings of love, up and above the clouds. It's the only way to fly. I don't care if it's platonic or romantic. You deserve that because you invested year after year. You took it for the checkups. You did the oil changes. You changed the spark plugs. You paid the insurance. You took it through the car wash. You took care of your vehicle. And so you deserve to have it now take care of you. I will tell you this too, as a more metaphor here. I had no idea what I was going to talk about, but apparently there's a reason I jumped on here. I will tell you this too. In the last year when I went through my medical issues, the car I had before this was an HHR, a white HHR. Ironically, something that my husband really wanted me to be in, which never really fit me. Actually, it was not my first choice. I always wanted a big old SUV. And it's funny, when my bestie Allstate took me shopping, we drove everything for weeks. Tahoes, Escalades. Oh my gosh, there was a purple Escalade, y'all. Oh my goodness. This is why you got to vet things and test it out. This is another message for whoever your angels bring about next for you. Just because they bring them and they're shiny and they're magical doesn't mean it's for you. I was dead set. I was ready to take the check, pay that bill on a regular monthly basis, which would have been crazy, because there was this brand new purple SUV and it was like a spaceship. And y'all know I'm obsessed with galaxies and space, right? The planetarium all day. So I was like, oh my gosh, this is for me. And she was like, yeah, bestie, I got you. This is the one. Like, she scouted it out for me. I don't even know how to do all that. So she found it. She found the dealership. We drove across the state. And that was a place where they really rolled the red carpet out and had beverages and such for us. And so, because they're recording me, because they were like, she's about to buy this SUV and it's a grip. It was a bag. It was expensive and I was going to buy it. But when I got inside of it, excuse me, a little throat chakra hit there. When I got inside of it, I realized that it wasn't for me. It didn't fit me. I didn't fit in it. No, I fit in it. It's a Cadillac Escalade. Of course I fit in it. But I wasn't comfortable in it the way that I thought I would be. And we test drove it for about an hour. Went and got Starbucks, did all the things. They trusted me. It was great. It's great to have good friends. I got friends in high places. Amen. High places where the champagne and the wine is on our faces. God bless America. I'm so grateful to have ascended from the friends in low places. So in the high place, that friend had the carpet rolled out and I'm in this SUV that was a lot. I think it was about 40 to 50 grand. And I was like, this is God's plan. God's plan. I was so Drake. It was God's plan. But then I got inside and it didn't fit me right. I have a message I just put up here earlier this morning called Goldilocks Yellow Box and the 3 Airbnbs, talking about relationships that fit you right, specifically talking about this bestie and how I knew it was the just right porridge for me. But what I want you to understand about this and how this translates to you is this. I had to sit in it, meaning I vetted that car. And I didn't like how it felt. I was shocked because I was like, this is it. I am going old school because I like boxy. I'm from the 80s girls and guys. So I like boxy, right? So I wanted something like big and boxy and whatever. I got into the Tahoe. Didn't love that either. I thought for sure it was going to be a Tahoe for me. It was a Tahoe or the Escalade. And that was not the SUV I chose. What worked for me, and that was what was amazing, was something completely different. And what I will tell you is this. Last year when I got sick and I couldn't sit up for 7 months. I had to lay down to be in transport when I needed to go to doctor's offices or even get to the hospital in the emergency situation that took me there initially. It was in the back of that SUV that I rode. I made videos in the back of it. I have done everything but have sex in the back of it because that's not been my life in this last year, meaning I have been not well. So it wasn't all frisky time in the back there. It was like health, it was living, it was actually having to survive. And that choice that was made was done to help keep me alive in so many ways. So when you cash in the insurance policy, physically I got new things, but I got new energies as well. And that new energy helped me select that vehicle, meaning I got to pick what worked for me. I got to pick the color, the thing, but she made wonderful suggestions because it just happens to be her wheelhouse. And it was my money that purchased it, and it was my credit, and there was no cosign. Though I will tell you something, and I've never really disclosed this, but I was just like many of y'all, always working on rebuilding and all that stuff with my credit. And she was like, have credit card will travel. If you need me to get this, I got you. Obviously, with the provision that I would be paying it back. It wasn't some sugar mama like thing whatsoever. It was just like a good friend energy, which also reminded me of the jalopy who would have never in her entire life extended finances to me. To any other dirtbag she would, but not me, who was always so good for and had done it for her extensively anyway. And so I was shocked by that. I was like, really? She was like, yeah. And she was like, and if not that, I'll co-sign for you, whatever. But we're getting you in a vehicle that is worthy of you. Come on, get a friend that knows what's worthy of you. And no, I didn't need to utilize her resources whatsoever. I have been working diligently. My credit was fine. I got a good interest rate. All the things happened that needed to happen that day. I had a chunk of money say it was a good thing. But it happened with a good friend who valued me, who shopped with me, who carved time out of her life to come down and be with me repeatedly until we could test drive and go to the right dealership and come home with the SUV. Sans husband. Gotta love him, but Sans husband, because I didn't want that drama. If y'all know, then you know. If y'all are married or have a boyfriend, you know sometimes they can be extra regarding that. And I was like, my broski bestie here, that's a masculine and feminine energy, is actually a better car person than my husband is regarding choices that she'll make. Because I saw what my husband picked when I allowed him that kind of energy. This is before we were married, when I got my previous vehicle. And I saw what she guided me towards, and it was guiding. She said, here's the checklist. Here's what I'd like for you to have. Here's what is a bare minimum because I know cars. And here's what you can now shoot for. The fucking stars. And I did. The same thing is true of any relationship with you. I just so happen to get this all rolled up in one, and I'm grateful beyond words. But the same thing is true. After you have the jalopy that you settled for, that someone squeezed you into and thought would fit you, or they gaslit you with, whatever, right? Then what you do is you move on to the best it could ever be. And that's what I had set in my mind. I thought I will never settle again. I know exactly what I want. I want an SUV. I knew I wanted to be up off the ground. I knew I wanted to look down. Amen. Looking down. I think of Cardi B and Get Up 10. They gave a B2 options, stripping or lose. Sometimes you have to get it out of Sue's. Sue's was a strip club that Cardi B worked in. Sometimes we start with low vibrations and people with bad intentions, and then you ascend. Yeah? We've watched the climb for her. That's why I respect it. Whether you agree with her politics, her energy, or her relationship, you can't not knock that hustle. So she started with people that were haters like her, maybe low vibrational as she was at one time, and then she ascended, and that's fine. And she cashed in her spiritual insurance. The same is true for you. Work hard, hustle, do the things you need to do. But when something happens in a relationship and it no longer fits you, understand that there are better things for you to manifest, and you don't just deserve anything, you deserve the fucking best. And I talk to you that way with a little bit of potty mouth so you understand that that's my masculine energy coming out. You deserve the best, divine feminine, especially if you invested in a jalopy that was filled with depravity, sin, dis-ease, and STDs. I'm talking about the spiritual kind, and maybe the real kinds too. You deserve better than that, boo. And that's no reflection that you manifested something negative to you. It was a lesson to help you ascend. There are so many of us that go through that. Okay. But when you're connected to people that are determined to be connected to low vibrational people, how dare you, whatever. Oh, F that. How dare I? I dare I because I'm good at what I do. This is for me specifically. When I advise a friend, I don't expect them like it's the rhema word of God. No, you figure it out for yourself. I also talk about that in my first video that's from this morning, the Goldilocks one. There are friends that I have told, this guy or this girl's not for you, homie. And they've been like, oh, and they wanted to turn it on me. And then they come back and they apologize because I'm not wrong. It doesn't mean I'm always not wrong. It just means that usually Divine Feminine and Empath, if you're listening, we get an idea and a nudge all along, like, this is going to go left and I'm worried about you. You guys get it? And so that's what happens specifically for you too. You will know if it's going to go south with that jalopy. But it is okay because you have an insurance policy. And with that insurance policy, you have the opportunity to cash it in and get your real soulmate, your real friend, if you're still interested in a twin, your real twin, whatever it may be. The best thing I ever did was in escrow, save up to get out of the jalopy disaster, the fire, dumpster fire that became. I just backed away slowly. I had my insurance agent on the phone. And I was like, broski, homie, bestie, you got me? They said, yeah, we got you. And that wasn't to the person that became my friend. That was to my angels and my ancestors that had my rear end. My God, did they save me. But they said, let's look over this policy real quick. Man, you've been making consistent payments on it. You never missed a month. You never missed a beat. Sometimes you paid extra. This is incredible. We've got something very special for you. We're going to send you a rental that's going to glide you out of here. And then we're going to put you, after you vet that, into something that fits your rear perfectly. And we'll let you test drive and roll out a few red carpets and have some wonderful exchanges. And then higher level soulmate comes in. That's the insurance policy you signed up for. And you've been faithful with your payments. Well done. I think of the Bible verse here. Well done, my good and faithful servant. That is what your angels and ancestors say to you. Yes, you've just been in a disaster, boo. Yes, the airbag just came out. You might have flipped the car. You might have spun about. You might have been in oncoming traffic, but they got you out. And now you no longer have to walk about with a jalopy that's making a fool out of you. My jalopy was like Linus's blanket, a dust ball of disaster, if you guys are familiar with the Peanuts cartoons. That's not the life for me, and it's not the life for you. Pay your insurance policy. And if you are wondering if you did you show up? Did you talk to that friend, that lover, that husband, that wife that said that they manifested you and then went out of their way not to treat you right, not to value you, not to respect you, to gossip about you, to slander you, to project their bullshit behavior on you, things that you would never, ever do, that they relish in with their darkness? Listen, I'm not a kink shamer, but there's something to be said for honesty. And if you can't live in the light, then that's no way to be. I know about that. I live out loudly and proudly in every way. I was just sitting with my bestie and my husband, and we were having a conversation about how good he can be, because he was very helpful in my last recent tour that I did of gallery readings. And my bestie was there acting as business manager, as she is that too, and exactly what I manifested. That's what I'm telling you. What you want is there for you. What you want is wanting you. I had exactly a vision, and the jalopy could have never fulfilled it. She didn't have the mileage or the temerity, the energy or the ability. She was lazy AF. I don't deal with people that are lazy. Okay, don't let the size fool you. I'm a hustler and I work. And people around me work too. Bosses in their own right. But what I was doing was sitting there and I was chatting, and I was like, man, I'm so grateful for my husband. We were just like decompressing, and I was like, he has accepted me in every way. And I could openly have this conversation and say the things I needed to say about the fact that I am bisexual. It wasn't a confession to him. He knows me. It wasn't a confession to my bestie. She knows me. But I'm living out loud and proud in my reality. I don't hide and skulk away in the night. I don't do things privately and don't want people to know my real life. I am private, but I am honest. And I could have that conversation, and it's no problem, because I always lived authentically and integrally. A lot of people can't do that. And some of the people that hated on you wanted to be you. Those girls specifically wanted to be me. They wish they could have that level of honesty in their partnerships where they didn't have to concede and say, oh, yes, I still like a girl too, but I guess I'll include you. Like, they didn't want all of that. They just wanted what they wanted, but they were not brave enough. What I'm telling you is that divest from people that are not brave, because they will hate on you and try to make you live their way and make it seem like you're the crazy one, because you are proud of who you are, and they will take for granted exactly why you may have been in your life. But that's okay. Those dumpster fires happen in the quiet of the night, in the still of the night. Cars blow up, things don't go right, and that's why you paid in. And the paying in is the repeated connection to people where you fed and gave, and maybe they were not reciprocal with you, but I promise you, someone will step in who will exceed you. I can't even believe some of my fortune as of late, even in the midst of a terrible year health wise, where I came out great, where I've had doctors look at me and say, "Do you know how lucky you are?" That's part of that insurance policy I cashed in. It is luck for sure, but it is a blessing. But it's because I gave and gave and gave. People that said someone had your similar situation, similar infection, and guess what happened? They died. Or they're still in the hospital bed to this day, and you're up and about. It's a miracle. It is. But that's because I paid in to people that didn't deserve me, that people that betrayed me, the people that lied to me, the people that took advantage of me, the people that thought I was a dummy, the people that took advantage of my naivete and my gullibleness. It was there. That's fair. But I paid in, and guess what happens? Now I am blessed with abundant care. I am blessed with gifts. I am blessed with love. I am blessed with people from all over the place that are so good to me that it sometimes makes me want to cry. I'm like, wow. But they said, no, no, no. Cry happy tears because you paid in for this. Divine Feminine, I pass that to you. You paid in for this. You committed to people that didn't commit to you, that manifested you and then discarded you. You paid in, and now we bless you with real friends, a real tribe, people that are looking for you, people that care about your life, people that value you, doctors that are fantastic, gifts that rain from heaven, and just your right fit, whether it's an SUV, a truck, a car, a sedan, a Jaguar. That's next, y'all. I dream of love, ay, 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 ay. Desert Rose, man, that car that Sting drives in that video, I've always wanted one of those, and I'll have it someday. But that is because I paid in to a great insurance policy. You can't lose when you're working with angels and ancestors, y'all. Okay? Divine Feminine, cash it in, but it does mean you have to at least total out the past. And no, there is no going back. You don't go back to the lot and drool over it. You might go get out some of your stuff if the jaws of life didn't have to cut you out of it. Last thing, I was once in an accident with a best friend from high school. We were in college at the time, but we were high school friends, and she came to pick me up and we were spending the day. I actually just talked to her this week. She invited me out to a Vanilla Ice concert because she's that girl. I love her so much. She's a principal of a school now, the same elementary school I went to. She's a boss in her own right, a Leo. And so we were chatting, and she was like, "Hey, I might be up this weekend. I'd love for us to like go, get a bite and go to this concert." But we were hanging out in our early 20s, and someone T-boned us, and it hit on her side, and she had to be cut out with the jaws of life and life flighted and airlifted to the hospital. And I broke my hip, and I was taken by ambulance. My mom, we were in the town. She was not in town with her family. She was in my town at the time, and my mom somehow showed up and rode with her in the helicopter. It was a lot. I didn't even know what was happening because I was kind of out of it myself, but my mom was by her side. She wasn't with me, which is fine. It's exactly how it's supposed to be. She always tells me stories of waking up and seeing my mom praying over her, which is it just touches me. So anyway, this thing happened, but it's the first time I've heard of the jaws of life. My mom has worked in the hospital for over 40 years. I've heard about these stories and whatever. I've been a Girl Scout, so I've seen the live action things where they like do troop days with the Boy Scouts and the Girl Scouts, and it shows how to do life-saving techniques. So I've seen them, but it's different when it's you inside of a totaled situation. And that was a totaled situation. They had to cut apart her car like a jigsaw puzzle to pull her out of the driver's side and pull her out. And I remember, y'all, I didn't think I was gonna cry about this, but I remember, she had like a little sundress and no bra because we were like going to the beach, and the impact and the glass cut the straps of her dress. She had her seatbelt on, thank God, but it cut the straps of the dress. And she's really modest. It's so funny. She calls herself Prudence. That's one of her alter egos. And it's so funny because she has a lot of them, but that was a funny one to me. Now she's evolved into Prudence. That wasn't how it always was, but sun's out, guns out as my example. But she said to me, cover me up, before she passed out. She didn't want the ambulance people to see her naked, which is ironic because they had to cut her out and cut her clothes off to save her life. accident that will change your life, and it changed hers when she recovered, and she's fine. But it was a long, grueling recovery, a couple of years. I so relate emotionally and energetically in every way. And even though for me it was a broken hip, that could be mended and put back into place. I still have a funny gait with my walk, y'all, telling all my tea. What I want you to understand is that she got cut free. Sometimes you have to cut yourself out of a disaster or be cut out of it. And my angels did that for me. They cut me out of the disaster. Then they sent in a great adjuster who understood my policy, things I didn't even understand. Sometimes you will have to be fully naked and laid bare to be saved. And it's uncomfortable being vulnerable. That was her last bit of control before she passed out. Covered me up, and I remember reaching over and moving the glass off of her chest and trying to put the straps back, but I couldn't. But I tried because I get it. When you are in a disaster that breaks your heart and shatters your life and shatters everything around you, you'll think, I just want a little piece of control in this. And sometimes, Divine Feminine, the best control you can have is to just let people rescue you, let your angels rescue you, let your energy rescue you, get cut out and get set free. Don't be attached to the disaster out of your pride because you invested. And that girl, I will tell you, loved cars too. She was like a car freak. She had a boyfriend that was into that, so they went to car shows. Like, she was always souping it up. She had put in a Bose speaker system. Ever since we were teenagers, she would like work extra shifts at Blockbusters just to like trick out her car. She loved her car. I think it was like a little Honda Civic. And it was like lifted and all the things. And she was like a white girl from Cali. So she loved car culture, you know? And I remember her being so sad because she like paid that off and everything. Like, she hustled and did all of that. And afterwards, I was talking about, like, she was like, I love that car. But she had to let that go. Was she going to sit in that car while she bled out? Was she going to sit in that car forever and be attached to it because she had paid it off, because it had a great system, because it had her favorite fuzzy dice? No. She had to cut her losses, quite literally. She had to be cut out of her loss in order to save her life. The same is true for you. You will have to be cut out of something sometimes in order to be free, but there is so much better for you in your destiny. At the time, she was just in college. Now she's a principal of a school. She is known throughout our community as a hometown girl who did good. She didn't just leave. She came back and she sewed back into her neighborhood. It's a beautiful story. I'm very proud of her. We had our moments. God bless it, like any friendship does. But man, I'm so proud of her. And in that moment, it bonded us together for life, unfortunately. Both of us free, but she had to be cut free. Do not resist your rescue, guys. Sometimes the rescue will come and it will be scary. Think about those people that are lifted into the skies, that are heliported out of a disaster. I think about a volcanic disaster that happened on White Island off the coast of Australia. And people had to be lifted out of there. They'd just gone through trauma and now they're flying in the air to be lifted out of there. And I'm terrified of heights. I think of, if I were ever in that situation, what would I do? Well, what you do is what you need to do to survive. You get out, and you get out alive. A lot of you guys were lucky to get out alive. Yes, it was heartbreak. Yes, things shattered. Yes, things ripped. Yes, you lost something you invested in. And I have no tears for what I invested in, y'all. When I say free at last, thank God Almighty. It's so good over here. I'm so fully, juicily loved in every single way. But what I will tell you is there was a part of me for a while that was attached to the stay. I wanted to stay. I put so much in it. I so relate to my friend. I so relate to what she went through in that moment of like, don't, I don't want to lose my vehicle. But if she would have stayed, she would have lost her life. Actually, she coded in the helicopter. She would have lost her life had we been there any longer. You understand? They acted emergently. It was a disaster that we couldn't see until I got out of the car. And I look back when I'm on the gurney, I'm like, oh my God, how did she survive? How did she even have the words to talk to me to tell me to fix her dress so that her breasts weren't exposed? It was crazy. I'm sorry, I'm just having a bit of a flashback. Sometimes you suppress stuff like that. It was traumatic. It was traumatic. But in any case, we survived it. And then, guess what? She got an even better car. She had to really learn how to walk, and she had a broken arm and a fractured collarbone, but she figured it out and still went to college and was living in the honors house and graduated with honors. We are made of tough stuff, Divine Feminine. Do not forget it, no matter what man or woman has made you try to have amnesia about your greatness, okay? Call in for the resources and help of your angels and ancestors. Talk to your emotional adjuster, whoever that may be, and realize the fullness of that policy. You've been paying in for a while. It's time to cash it out. The new higher level soulmate is somewhere roaming about. Pull them in, and you don't even have to work hard. That's the thing about it. Because you did such a diligent job of being on time and integral with previous payments, now they just naturally come to you. Yes, there's still work to do. There's still vetting to do, just like I talked about with testing out all the vehicles. Nothing is an immediate fit. And then one day you'll find the thing. Ooh, a light just flashed. I don't know if you guys saw that. And it will be it. And it will be just right. I love you guys. Have a great day or have a great night. Don't forget about your policy. Your future is bright. Love chatting with you guys. Come back and join me next time, and we'll continue to evolve together.